There is different pieces. There is some piece which I really develop here, and there is other piece who come from other different exhibitions, so ancient piece, but every piece was adapted to the building. And the main piece here is about a table and a apple. In fact, when the center asked me to do an exhibition, they said to me that it was possible to have a collaboration with the Adolphe Merkle Institute here in Fribourg, which is an institute, a kind of startup of nanotechnology. I asked them to do a very thin membrane with a kind of mixing between the table and the apple. It's really the idea that in a very, very thin scale you can mixing things that you can mix in or scale. And so I decided to realize this object, which is the main piece, in fact, in the installation and in the place, alongside with the table, the apple, and image of micrometric image of the table and nanometric image of the object. I put some other piece, for example, a gray sphere, which was already in different exhibitions. And for me, here it has really senses because it's a sphere which is filled with air and helium. And the balance between air and helium makes that the sphere can go in the air between the sail and the floor. Sometimes it goes to the floor, but it is not subject to gravity. And as the relationship between an apple and a matter is the same between a apple and the earth, I think it was a good idea to have this sculpture, which is a kind of image of the earth. Because since we go to space, since the men go to space, we know that and we can see that the earth is a kind of ball floating in the air. And for me it was a piece which makes a lot of sense, and also it had a relationship with the title, which is Dieu. God is visiting Newton, and Newton is the guy who discovers the gravity, and also he has this story of the apple in his head who fall, and that's the way he discovers the gravity. So all the other pieces come, I think, in a very natural way with the piece which was there. And for example, in the room in the end, in one wall you have images from the material, the fold with apple and table view with a team, which is a very precise microscope where you can see at the nanometric scale. And in front of it you have a window with only a very, very simple white paper. And when you look in this window, through this window to the white paper, you can see the little dust in your eyes, which are also a kind of your own cinema that you have in your body, that everybody have when you look at a clear surface. So it was a very paradoxal and also complementary thing between the very, very precise technology of this microscope and the very simplicity of the body of everybody who can say his own dust in the eyes. And in the second level, there is also an ancient piece, which is a video installation in direct. So it's a very simple set. I did it since 15 years, I think, because I was very interested when I went to movie when I was a child. I was more interested sometimes with the cone of dust in the projection than in the image themselves. So I did this piece, I think, for the first time in Canada in 1997, I guess. And so you can see the dust which is in the space, and here I will put also how do you say ballet? A brush, a very trivial brush like you have in the countryside or also in kitchen, like the table. A very simple instrument, and with this instrument you can put the dust in the cone, and you can, with that simple gesture and very pragmatic gesture, you can be able to see a kind of image like star in the sky. And it's also the same thing, begin from something very common and have an idea of something very incredible, which is the huge space and things like that. And there is also another piece, which is a radiesthetic hall. In the traditional village or area, there was always a guy who come when people want to build a house or something like that, a radiesthesist who come to see if there was not bad vibration in the earth for the construction of something. And this is something we don't know if it's science or almost science, or if it's only an idea that we have in head and that doesn't exist. And I am also interested in this kind of thing. I don't want to prove that it exists or not exists, but I know that radiesthesis exists and that it was very common in the countryside. So a radiesthesist from here come here in the place, and he did an analysis of the vibration in the construction. And regarding a scale that the radiesthesists use, a scale of color that they use to translate in a very abstract way what they feel with the pendule of the baguette, I did a coloration of the place. But the coloration comes time to time because it's to make visible something which is invisible. And I wanted that the people have it for a while, but not all the time. And like this you have a kind of double exhibition, because we think that you can see sometime and other things that you can see on other time.